Okay, hello. I am back to continue. Um, the first video I just made, I was just talking about the front of my mask, and now for this second video, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the back of my mask, which, you know, was the real me, which was what was really inside of me, what was really going on inside of me, in my heart, in my head, in my life, in my personal life that no one knew about and no one saw. Um, that's what this is about. So let me just, like, since I'm not good at drawing, I'll show you guys what's going on here. So I just drew like black, like I just got a color pencil and just colored like a black whirlwind. I don't know what it is, but just black. And then there is like a bunch of hearts all over the place, but they have X's across the hearts. And also, there's a few red flags. I should draw more of those. There needs to be way more of those, but there's like red flags. And all these like little things you see here, like the little lines, the little red lines, those are supposed to be like blood. Like, yeah, like maybe bloody tears, or just bloody drops of tears. That's what those are. And then I just kind of scribbled across. I'm not done actually. I feel like I do want to draw more red all over the place, but across the black circle stuff, I scribbled red. There should be a lot more red all over the place. So I'm not done. Like, I'm gonna continue working on it once when I go on Wednesday. So yeah, that's kind of what's there. Now, what does it mean? So yeah, the way to explain it, I'm gonna tell you guys about my life and everything that has happened in my life. But I'm only going to stop, or I'm going to stop where I stopped in the second class. I won't continue. So so growing up, my whole life was bad basically. Like, and my life only got worse as I grew older and older. It didn't get better in in any way that I can think of. Nothing got better. Everything got worse and worse and worse as I got older. But, you know, it already started bad from when I was little. So from 0 to 5, my dad was around, but he was mean. He was a bad person. He would beat up my mom. He would cheat on her, and he was a bad person. And of course, we don't really remember those things when we're like that little, but I do remember, and I think that he was still with us, or he still lived with us, but I do have like 1 or 2 memories of him, like when I was that little, I think. And so one of the memories is I was like sitting on the floor or something, and both of my parents were in front of me, but they were like fighting. So they were fighting with each other, and and then I remember my dad pulled out his belt off of him, and he like hit my mom with it, and it cut her. I forgot if on her forehead or on her neck, one of those parts. It cut her, and she started bleeding, and then I remember that my mom, she ran to the kitchen and she got a knife, and then she ran back to where my dad was and threw the knife at him, and it cut him. He started bleeding too. So they were both bleeding, and then I remember the police. I remember them, that they came and they took my dad away. And yeah, they took him away, and of course I was super scared. So I was crying and crying and crying, and I remember that my stepbrother, son of my dad from another woman, because my dad, like I said, he cheated on my mom a lot. But that, besides cheating on her, like, he also had a whole history. By the time he met my mom, I don't even know why my mom, like, got with him, because he already had a bunch of kids. Like, he had already been through like 2 or 3 relationships, or maybe even 4, I don't know, but he already had a bunch of kids before me. I know now I'm one of the youngest ones. Me and my brother were both from he me and my brother were both from him, and we're like basically the last ones. And I have a bunch of half brothers and half sisters, older, I think maybe like 10 or something. So yeah, I don't think my mom knew any of this when she decided to marry him. And I don't know, we all make mistakes, right? We make bad decisions, but she married him like within 3 months of knowing him. That's what she told me. Like, she didn't even know this guy that she decided to marry. She only knew him for like 3 months, and of course he's not gonna say that. So she said she didn't know any of that stuff until after they had gotten married. And then the things started, she started finding out these things. But it was already too late by that point. She was already like married to him. But yeah, so this stepbrother that I remember was carrying me is one of the older ones. He was carrying me and I was crying. And yeah, that's one. I have one other memory where he smacked me. My dad smacked my face, and I don't remember why. Yeah, that part I don't remember why, and that's it. That's all I remember from when he was. I believe he was still with us for both of those memories. So yeah, that's him. He left when I was 5 and disappeared. Like, he kind of kept in touch for a little bit, but yeah, it kind of faded out to nothing. Like, yeah. He moved to Mexico, and that's where he still is now. He's still alive, and he still lives in Mexico. So that's him. So that's when up until 5. So after 5, yeah, I stayed with my mom. My mom is the one that raised us all by herself, single mom. But she, oh, sorry. So let me just, like, yeah. So one of these hearts that is like crossed out, it's my dad. The next heart that's crossed out, another heart that would be crossed out, is my mom. Because with my mom, she wasn't loving at all. She was always a very cold person. Didn't show any affection toward us. And if we tried to show affection and love toward her, she would reject us. And I would say, I think it was mostly me, because I think I was more like, I love you, Mom, and I was more lovey. And my brother, I think well, from what I saw, he didn't seem to be like that, as much as me. I was just like super lovey. But she would always, like, reject any sort of way of me showing love to her. Like, if I hugged her, I used to hug her a lot when I was little. I used to tell her a lot that I love her. But she would be like, shut up, don't hug me, stop doing that. Like, if you really loved me, you would, like, do this or do that. Like, wash the dishes. You wouldn't make me mad. If you really loved me, this or that or this or that. So, like, shut up. So that's what she would always do. Reject my love for her. And yeah, like I said, for her love to me was like non-existent. Well, I'm sure she loved me, but she didn't show it. She was very cold. So yeah, if she gave me, and also she, besides not showing me love, she also, like, I feel like she ignored me a lot, because with my brother. So now another one of these hearts would probably be my brother, because Hey, as we started getting older, we started becoming like young teenagers. Uh, he he started getting in trouble a lot with the cops at school, with the teachers, for a bunch of reasons. He was just, you know, troublemaker. And so my mom was constantly getting called to go to school and like, you know, pick him up, or like be shadowing him, like where she has to be there all day and follow him around. She would do that and all that kind of stuff. And and yeah, so because he was like that, she was paying more attention to him, trying to like fix him, or through hitting him, or I don't know, screaming at him. And so she wasn't really paying attention to me. I guess because she thought, oh, she's getting good grades, she's doing good in school, she's fine. But I wasn't. I was not fine at all. It was just my mask. I was just, you know, showing, like, I was trying to show the world, or show people everything's fine with me. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I'm happy. You know, that's why I have good grades. I'm fine. And so I guess she believed it. I don't know, but and everyone else believed it. But no, I wasn't fine, and I felt very ignored by her. Apart from not feeling like loved by her, I also felt ignored by her. So yeah, that happened. And things got worse in my house. Like I said, things didn't get better. So yeah, things just got bad, and I was just feel like this is a crazy house. Like always screaming and yelling, and always like calling me bad names. My mom calling me bad names and telling me I'm good for nothing, that I don't know how to do anything. And she would just a bunch, like everything that she would say to me, it was all negative stuff that she would tell me of who I was. Like, you're good for nothing, you don't know how to cook, you're lazy, like just on and on and on. Like all the things she would say of what I am, who I am, was all bad stuff. And so all the attention she gave me, like if she would pay attention to me, it felt like it was only for bad things. Like, oh, you didn't clean your room, oh, like you didn't sweep the floor, oh, you didn't wash it. Like that's how it felt like whenever she would pay attention to me, it was for something bad. And yeah, so there was a bunch of violence in my house, with my mom like always screaming and swearing at us and like beating us up and all that stuff. Just a bunch of violence, and I just felt like I was in a crazy house. So by the time I turned 21, or about to turn 21, you know, I was just so done. For so many years I had, you know, always thought like I should just run away and like escape, and like I don't know where I would live. I would probably just go to a homeless shelter. That would probably be better than being here in this crazy house. That's how I always thought, and for so many years that's what I thought of doing, but I never did it. I never did it because I was always scared to do that, so I never did. um and so by the time I was 21, there was a person that told me that they in the house that they lived at, there was a empty room, like that that if I she asked me if I wanted to rent it out. And my eyes got so big. I'm like, oh, this is my chance. This is my opportunity. Like for so long I've been wanting to get out of here, but I was so scared because I didn't know where to go if I did leave. But so when this lady told me that she was willing to rent out a room in her house to me, I took it. I'm like, this is maybe like a once in a lifetime chance right here, to get out of here. And so I did. I took it. I packed up my stuff and I left. But it wasn't even far from my mom's house. It was like a block away. But I didn't tell her that. I didn't want her to know where I live because I was like, the whole reason I'm leaving is to escape you, to leave you, get away from you. So I'm not gonna tell you where I'm going because then you're gonna go look for me and bother me, and like, you know, that I don't want that. So she wanted to know where I was, like where, and I told her I'm not telling you. So she didn't know. I told her later, but in the beginning I didn't tell her. I didn't want her to know. Um, and so yeah, that was a whole chaos hell in itself. When I left, like my mom, she just went crazy, or she just was like, my house fell apart when I decided to leave. I had all my stuff together. My house fell apart. Like I remember that day so clearly. When I had all my stuff and I was about to head out the door, my brother was just like saying I'm stupid, like just stupid. He was like saying bad things to me. And my sister, my little sister, she was like, I think she was like 10 because I was 21. She was 9 because I was still 20. I was going to turn 21 in a few more months, but she was 9 and she was just crying. She was just crying and crying and crying. And she was just saying, "Don't leave. Don't leave, Erica. Don't leave, please." So she was just very sad. So that's her. And my mom, oh, she was like so mad. She was like, "You could forget ever coming back here. Like, I don't have a daughter anymore. If you leave right now, you could just forget that you have a mom. Um, Never come back because you're not going to be my daughter anymore. I'm like canceling you out." That's what she said. So that happened. That's what happened the day I left. And so yeah, I left because I was like, yeah, I'm not staying. So I left, and yeah, that's that. So then a few months later, when I was turning 21, because I moved out, I think around, I think it was around September or October. I know it was only like a few months away from my birthday, so it was around, I think it was around October. And then in December, I turned 21. And yeah, so then I had a friend, and I told you guys about this friend that I didn't have friends. That could be, oh, I dropped my paper. Another one of these hearts that's crossed out would be that I never had friends my whole life. All through school, you would think, there's so many kids at school, you should, how is it possible that you didn't make friends? Well, I didn't. I was, friendly and nice to everyone, and people were nice to me. No one was mean to me, except for like 7th and 8th grade. I had a bully, but that's the only exception. Like, people were fine with me. I just didn't have people like friends, except one girl who I had known since I was like in 1st grade, and we were friends for many, many, many years, all through high school and even after high school, a few more years. But she wasn't really a friend, and I mentioned to you guys that with her, it was always about her. Like, she's always the one that wanted to talk. And whenever I would talk, if it was, I guess, too long, she would be like, "Are you done? Like, you're talking so much." That's what she would say. So yeah, I guess that's why she was my friend. She just liked it that I would just listen to her as she would just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about all of her stuff. And yeah, I guess that's why. But But when it came to me, for me to talk, she would be like, "You're talking so much. Are you done?" So that was my one friend. Yeah, so I didn't have friends. I had no friends. So that's another heart here crossed out. No friends. But anyways, this friend, she invited me on my birthday, or close to my birthday. I think it wasn't quite my birthday yet, but it was about to be, like in a few days. So she invited me to go to a nightclub. Now, because I was living with my mom my whole life, I never went to a nightclub. She was too strict. She was extremely strict, and so she wouldn't let me go out at all. So yeah, I never went to a nightclub. But now that I lived away from her, now that I lived on my own, I was like, now I can put my own rules. I don't have to follow my mom's rules. I'm not with her anymore, so it's whatever I want to do now. Whatever I want to do, I could do. So when my friend asked me to go to the nightclub to celebrate my birthday, I was like, yeah, okay, let's go. So we went. She had a boyfriend, so she took her boyfriend with her. And so all three of us went to the nightclub. And that is where I met my ex-husband. I met him at that nightclub. So, like I mentioned to you guys, I used to be married, and that's where I met him. At a nightclub. I know, right? Worst place to meet somebody. So, somebody to like take seriously. So, another one of these hearts would be him, crossed out. That whole relationship was horrible. I told you guys this Wednesday, whatever you guys have been through in your own personal relationships with guys, I could say most likely happened to me with him. He was like the worst man I had ever met. And now I did tell you guys that the one thing he never did was beat me. He never did that. But I could tell you this though about that. Now that I'm like, I've thought about it. He never beat me, but I feel like he threatened me indirectly. And I'll tell you what I mean. So I think within the first year, there was a lot. Like, that's why I drew all the red flags that are here. Mostly thinking of him. So in the first year, there was like a gazillion red flags all over the place. But I was stupid and I didn't just walk away. I was stupid and I was broken and I was lost. And yeah, everything was wrong. Everything was wrong with me. My heart was just like broken and stuff. From everything that had already happened up to that point in my life. So yeah, the brokenness just continued. The mess just continued with him. So with him, what was I gonna say? The nightclub. Okay, I kind of lost my train of thought, sorry. So I'll just continue going from where I was saying about the nightclub. So I met him there. We were dancing, and it was like dark, nightclubs are dark. So I didn't really see his face or anything. Because one of you guys asked me, like, was he cute at least? Like, no, he wasn't. He was ugly. But I didn't see his face, like, because you guys were like, why did you get with him then? Because I wasn't really paying attention to his face. It was dark, and I was just dancing, and like the way you dance at a nightclub, juking, twerking, all that stuff. So he was behind me, just doing all the nightclub dance moves and all that stuff, and yeah. So at some point, like while we were dancing, I decided like, I haven't even looked at this guy's face. Let me see how he looks like. So then that's when I kind of looked, and I was like, he's not that cute. That was my first reaction when I kind of saw like I wasn't like, let me look at you, but kind of from like a side glance, like while we were dancing, I kind of side glanced at him, and that's when I was like, I mean, okay, well, at least he dances. He dances good. So yeah, so I didn't think he was cute. I just kind of settled with the looks part. But yeah, so the red flags, they were littered all over the place, guys. I gave you so many examples of the red flags. For example, one I told you guys is I think within the first month of meeting him, like just a bunch of stuff started happening. He gave me the key to his house so that I could go whenever I wanted. And so I didn't go as like immediately as soon as he gave me the key. Like I showed up the next day. No, it took a while. I think like a couple weeks or something before I decided like, I guess I'll go. I mean, he gave me the key to his house. He said I could go whenever I wanted. So a couple weeks after he gave me the key to his house, I went, and I just lucked out. Like I chose the perfect day to show up, because when I went, literally the first time I went to his house, he had told me he was working. So I wanted to surprise him. I was like, oh, let me surprise him when he comes home and he sees me, like, hey. He'll be like happy, like very surprised and happy to see me. But it was me who turned out to be surprised, because when I went, when I opened the door, who do I see? His ex-girlfriend. She was like, as soon as I opened the door, boom, she's right there. Like maybe, I don't know, not that